mom came into the room and she's like, look at my phone. And then I couldn't see it, so I had to look at mine. I'm like, oh.
I can't bet against Tom Brady. I have the Bucks winning 31-27 and Tom Brady going to his 10th championship.
Yeah, and I really think the Clippers' chance to win the championship was last year. And they were up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets.
Chris Paul is one of the most underrated players of all time. He's been the best player wherever he goes, and that includes with the Rockets.
You said you can't bet against Tom Brady, and as a Cowboys fan and what I just did last weekend, I am not going to bet against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. I mean, that's all I can really say. There's two of the top 5 players in the league, and they're very, very good.
Hello, I'm Taylor Hearn, and you listen to The Outsiders' Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week. I am Kevin, and I am joined by the man who both our teams were listed as out of the sweepstakes, but I also had this thought, and shows just how long we've been doing the show and on the same wavelength. Can Sasaki just make up his mind? I'm tired of waiting. Austin.
Yeah, and there's only 2 teams left in contention. Who those teams are?
Yeah, it's the Dodgers Padres. So that video earlier.
It's not the Padres.
Really?
Yep, the Padres just got out, so there's only 2 teams left. The Padres were one of the last 3.
Blue Jays?
It is the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are the last team besides the Dodgers in. And I just have to ask, this is the question of the video, not to say that it's a waste because of how good Sasaki is, but was this inevitable? Was he always going to go to the Dodgers? Was it a waste to have this whole sweepstakes as such, or is this inevitable no matter what?
Yeah, I know, because it goes to a video we did last year, a few weeks ago, of like, hey, is he just a guaranteed Dodger? And I was like, no. But it's like, dude, this is too much. And I think I saw the headline from Texas Rangers writer Evan Grant. I don't think he even toured the Rangers facility. So I'm like, how in depth are your sweepstakes? Or is it just kind of letting the bidding go? Of just like, okay, how much are you going to give me? What am I going to get? And like, oh, dude, it's just so annoying. I do think it's worth it because I think he's a great pitcher. And we've seen just recently the pitchers coming out of Japan, and he's younger too. I think he's 21.
I thought he was 22. 21?
He's 23.
Oh, it's 23?
Or wait. It says he was 23 years old. 23 yeah, he's 23 right now.
He's 20. So he turned 23 after the season though, which is maybe why I thought he was 22. He was 20. Okay.
And Yamamoto is like 25, 26 because it says he's 26 right now. But that was in August, so he entered in as 25. I want to say Yu Darvish when he entered was like 25, 26. So like that's a young age for a pitcher of his level and just kind of expecting that. But I don't want to say it's a waste of time because I do think he's listening. It just to me seems like your teams are delaying everything to sign him. Like let's say I hope he goes to the Blue Jays because I don't want him going to the Dodgers because then it would just be like, okay, did teams really have a chance? Because you could have just signed with the Dodgers earlier.
Yeah, I think this question is really determined by whether he goes to the Dodgers or not. I think the sweepstakes were a waste if he doesn't end up going to the Dodgers. But if he goes to Toronto, I do think that it was worth it because it didn't go to the team that a lot of people, maybe 75, 80% of people thought he was going to go to.
Yeah, and as much as like I've had bad history with the Blue Jays, it would be fun because then that's why I'm kind of thinking because Bregman is still on the market, Pete Alonso is still on the market. There are so many great players on the market, and I do think it's teams waiting for, hey, who gets Sasaki? And let's say the Blue Jays get Sasaki. Does that mean the Blue Jays go out and kind of do after the Dodgers signed Yamamoto last year, and of course Ohtani, but they go on a spending spree? What happens if the Blue Jays go and sign Alex Bregman and
Well, they definitely could. They definitely could because I mean, last year they tried for Ohtani, they tried for Judge, they tried for a lot of these big names, and I do think if they get Sasaki, they're going to go all out because they'll have the proof that they can get a big name free agent.
Yeah, I had this thought because I'm like, it came out like a week ago. It's like Sasaki's gonna narrow down his team and pick by I think January 23rd. I'm like, can you please make a decision as a content creator, but also a fan? I really thought he was gonna sign with the Rangers. I thought the Rangers actually had a legit chance. I know they were one of the 5 teams, but yeah. So an announcement should be coming soon, but we are recording or well, this is getting posted the day of, so I think we could have delayed this episode, and still the same thing would be what's Sasaki gonna do? And I'm really scared now that it's taking so long. It is gonna be the Dodgers, as you're talking about. Um, 'Cause I know when was the 2 teams announced? Because 3 teams is like
Today.
today. Oh, today. Okay.
Yeah, I
So,
just
like,
saw it. Literally, the MLB.com posted that the Padres were out of the running like 30 minutes ago, which is
dang.
half the reason why I decided
Yeah.
to do this video because now it's down to 2 teams. So it's going to be the Toronto Blue Jays or the LA Dodgers.
Yeah, and talking about the Padres, I was like, okay, that's why I guessed the Padres because LA Dodgers and Padres make sense. They're the same geographical place, but different geographically, different countries as well with LA Dodgers and then the Blue Jays, of course, in Canada and Toronto. Uh so yeah, it will be. I do agree. It kind of goes depend because I don't think we're the Blue Jays are just like a weird team where it's like, hey, they were in on Otani, and I'm just like, really? They didn't. I want to say it's kind of like Mavs esque when they had a meeting with like Kawhi Leonard. I know it's probably a niche reference.
I
What do
don't.
you think about?
Can you extrapolate on that? I don't actually remember what that went like.
So it was always kind of in the previous years, and yeah, I guess Clay was. The Mavs were a team in the NBA where it was just like, okay, hey, they're gonna have meetings with LeBron. They're It was always a team they're like, hey, they're gonna get someone in free agency and they're planning for free agency. And then it just never happened. There was the DeAndre Jordan saga. It was kind of like they were linked to big time free agents, but none of the free agents actually came to them. And that's over the years has kind of felt like with Toronto. Because when was the last big signing for him?
Was Gosman a signing? Kevin
Yes.
Gosman? I think it was.
Because where was Gosman before that? San Francisco?
San Francisco.
Yeah, maybe Gosman. Yeah. Because that was a huge deal, right?
Say again.
That was a huge deal, I think, that they paid him a bunch of money.
Yeah.
All right, let me check. I'm trying to see how we. Man, come on.
Yeah, they signed him to a 5-year deal in 2021.
Okay, so yeah, 4 years. Wow, it's 4 years ago. But that's kind of what I was meaning. Is just like this feels like the Dodgers actually have a chance, and the Blue Jays don't really have a chance. I hope that's not the case, because I'm all for teams spending money, but it would just be insane about the Dodgers adding another pitcher. But it would be really exciting if he went to the Blue Jays, because I do think they would spend more. And as you look at it, that would mean you have Gosman. Um, they have another pitcher, not Manoa, because I think Manoa.
Yeah,
Is
Manoa's
still,
with New York now, the Mets.
oh, Mets. Okay, don't they have
They
another?
have Jose Barrios, I believe, is still on the team.
Yes, Barrios is who I'm thinking of. Barrios, Gosman. You add Yamamoto. That's a strong three three pitchers.
Yeah.
And then they would have to pay some other people to help that roster, but I just it feels weird. But That's kind of what reminds me of with the Mavs of just like, hey, they're linked to LeBron. And then I do think they had like a meeting with Tobias Harris. It's a team linked to a free agent, but you're like, do they really have a chance? And they just miss out on them.
I have two more questions. One, what would it mean to Toronto to get Sasaki outside of just free agents? Because I know you mentioned that, but as a fan base moving forward, this would be by far the biggest name they have gotten in free agency. Would this kind of be like play a little bit with the Mavs that, hey, we know we can get the big name guys now?
It could be the Mavs, but I was thinking to stay in the baseball. This would kind of feel like when Corey Seager signed with the Texas Rangers. And because it was I think this would breathe life into the Toronto Blue Jays fan base because it was a pretty disappointing season this past year, and just kind of getting a big time free agent, snagging snagging someone like that away from a premier team, the Dodgers, who have been heavily linked. Because I'm trying to think of uh, Seager, I think, was deciding between returning to the Dodgers. Maybe the Yankees were involved, but it's kind of going from like a team that just won the World Series to a team that missed the playoffs, did not play well. I think that would be huge of like, okay, someone believes in us, and then kind of breathing life into the fan base, especially if it's a long-term deal.
Yeah. And because he's a rookie, he's going to have arbitration and all that stuff still. So,
Ooh.
yeah. That's going to be interesting to see. And I do think that would be pretty big for the fan base. But last question, what % chance do you give Toronto to get Sasaki? So it's not 0. He's 1 of 2. But it's I don't think either of us think it's 50-50. What are the odds that they do percentage-wise? This doesn't need to be scientific or anything, just a rough estimate.
I'm gonna go like 20%.
Okay. That's close to mine. I was gonna say 25%. I was gonna say 3/4 of the time. I think if we were to play this back, he would end up with the Dodgers.
Yeah. And thinking about if it were the Padres, because man, I was really hoping he'd be a Padre. I think it would have been 50-50 if it was between the Padres.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to end up seeing where he goes. I know this isn't to the extent that Bellinger or Snell was last season or Montgomery, but it's comparable to where it just seems like it's staying on our minds forever. And we're like, oh, we'll do a video on it when it happens, and it just never happens. So we just gotta wait.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Because it was Snell. There was another. Maybe it's like, no, that's too long ago. Because like, give credit to Soto, he just signed immediately, or like a week or two in. I do think it kind of feels.
What you're thinking, I just want to say really quickly.
Yeah.
I do respect Soto for that because he didn't leave me in despair for 2 months waiting on what was going to happen, and I can respect him for that. But continue.
I'm trying to think. It feels like Kevin Durant, kind of in that offseason when we were like, is Kevin Durant gonna do anything? Because I really think it is. I think after this there will be waves of signings. But it's just, when does it happen? And then we can actually talk about free agency, because they're 2 months out from spring training, and it's just weird. Kind of feels like Bryce Harper and Manny Machado when they were the premier players on the market and they took forever to sign.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yep. But yeah, with our case, right as this video is posted, Sasaki will announce, but actually it'll probably just be a week. So let us be on the lookout for a video whenever that happens, because as you can tell, we have been waiting to do a video on where Sasaki goes, and I really hope it's not the Dodgers. And let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.